Do you ever notice how certain moments, certain places, certain songs just take you right back to someone? Maybe it's a coffee shop where you used to sit together for hours. Maybe it's a joke only the two of you got. Maybe it's a scent that immediately reminds you of the way you felt in their presence. That's nostalgia. And nostalgia is one of the most powerful forces when it comes to attraction. It has the ability to make someone miss you in ways they can't even understand. Because when you trigger nostalgia in someone, what you're really doing is bringing back emotions, feelings of connection, joy, excitement, and depth that they once associated with you. Now, here's what most people get wrong. They think making someone miss them is about reminding them directly of their absence. They send messages like, "I miss you," or "I've been thinking about you." And while those words might feel honest, they don't actually create the kind of pull that makes someone truly long for you. In fact, those messages can sometimes have the opposite effect. Because when someone feels like you're trying to get them to miss you, it can feel forced. The magic happens when you make them miss you without them even realizing you're doing it. So how do you do that? You take them back to a moment, a feeling, a memory, something that was unique to just the two of you. It's not about telling them you miss them. It's about making them feel something before they even know why. Instead of saying, "I miss you," you send something like, "Just walked past that little bookstore we found on accident that day. Made me smile." Or, "I was at dinner and they played that song you always sang terribly off key. Brought back some funny memories." Do you see what that does? It doesn't ask anything of them. It doesn't pressure them to respond. It doesn't push them into a conversation they may not be ready for. But it does trigger a moment in their mind where suddenly they're back in that bookstore with you, or they're laughing about that off-key singing, or they're remembering a version of you that was fun, light, and full of connection. And what happens then? That little pang of nostalgia settles in. And once someone starts associating that kind of warmth with you, they begin to crave it. Now, let's take it a step further. It's not just about bringing up any random memory. It has to be something that made them feel good. Because nostalgia isn't just remembering the past, it's remembering the best parts of the past. So when you send that text, you're carefully selecting a moment that reminds them of the best version of the connection you shared. This is why timing also plays a role. Imagine they're scrolling through their phone, having an average day, maybe even feeling a little lonely. And then ding, they get that message. "Just heard someone absolutely butcher your favorite song on the radio. Made me think of you." Instantly, they're not just hearing from you, they're feeling something because of you. And the best part, you're not even asking for a response. You're not chasing, you're not seeking validation. You're simply planting a moment in their mind and walking away. That's powerful. And here's the real beauty of this approach. It works because it's real. You're not playing games, you're not manipulating, you're simply bringing to light the beautiful moments that already existed. And people want to relive those moments. We all do. It's why we rewatch our favorite movies, why we go back to places we love, why we hold on to old songs that remind us of certain chapters of our lives. Because those things give us a feeling. And if you can be the source of a feeling someone wants to relive, then they will naturally start to miss you. This is how attraction works. It's not about reminding someone of the loss. It's about reminding them of the presence of something meaningful, something joyful, something effortless. That's what makes them miss you. That's what makes them crave you. That's what brings them back, not because they feel guilted into missing you, but because they want to feel that way again. So the next time you're tempted to reach out with something generic or to pour your heart out hoping it will make them see what they've lost, pause. Instead, find that memory, that moment, that tiny, effortless reminder that makes them feel something without them even realizing why. And then let nostalgia do the rest. You ever notice how curiosity is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology? It's the thing that keeps us turning the pages of a great book, that compels us to click on the next episode of a show, even when we know we should be going to bed. We can't help it. The unknown has a pull on us. And when it comes to attraction, to relationships, to making someone think about you long after you've left the room or the conversation, curiosity is your best friend. So, if you want to send a text that makes him miss you like crazy, you need to tap into this natural instinct. And the best way to do that? Playful intrigue. What does that mean? It means sending something that makes him lean in instead of pull away. Most people, when they want attention, they do the opposite. They send a long-winded message, or they express their feelings too directly, or worse, they ask for validation. And listen, there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable, but if the goal is to make him miss you, the last thing you want is to make him feel like he already has you. Think about it. If you send a message that says, "I miss you, do you miss me?" where does he have to go from there? He either has to say yes, which might be true, but now there's no chase, no anticipation, no mystery, or he says no, or worse, doesn't respond, and now you're left feeling terrible. But if instead you send something that sparks his curiosity, something that gets his mind racing, now you've got him. Try this. You won't believe what I just realized about you, and leave it at that. Now he's hooked. What did you realize? Was it good? Was it bad? Is he about to get a compliment or a playful jab? The unknown is delicious. It creates anticipation. And here's the magic part. It doesn't just make him want to know the answer. It makes him think about you while he's waiting to find out. You see, what makes people miss you isn't just your presence, it's the space you leave in their mind when you're not there. And curiosity is one of the best ways to create that space. When he gets that text, he's going to replay every conversation you've had. He's going to wonder, what moment stood out to you? Did you notice something about his personality? Did you figure out one of his little quirks? And because he doesn't have the answer yet, he's going to keep thinking about it, about you. Now, when he responds, and he will respond, you don't just give it all away. You tease it out. Maybe you say, "I'm not sure if I should tell you. It might make you too confident." Or, "I probably shouldn't say," you might get a big head. And now he's even more intrigued. He's chasing, he's engaging. And that's where the magic happens. You see, when someone has to work a little for the answer, they value it more. Think about a time you worked really hard for something, a job, a fitness goal, even just figuring out how to do something difficult. The harder it was to get, the more you appreciated it. The same thing happens in attraction. If you just give someone all of your attention, your energy on a silver platter, there's nothing for them to work for. No effort required, no anticipation, no longing. But when you create a little space, when you add a little playful mystery, now there's something to want. And the best part? This kind of intrigue isn't just a short-term game. It's the foundation of long-term attraction. Because what makes someone stay interested isn't just how much they like you, it's how much they feel engaged with you. If every interaction feels predictable, if there's no spark of curiosity, if there's nothing left to discover, interest fades. But when you keep things dynamic, when you keep a little bit of that playful tension alive, it keeps things exciting. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about playing games. It's not about manipulation. It's about understanding how attraction works and using it in a way that feels natural and fun. You're not withholding for the sake of withholding. You're creating space for attraction to build. And the beauty of this approach is that it works even if you're not together right now, even if you feel like he's slipping away, even if you're worried that the connection isn't as strong as it once was. Because when you create a moment of curiosity, you create an opportunity for him to engage with you again, to remember what he loved about you in the first place, to miss you. So the next time you're tempted to send that long, vulnerable text, telling him exactly how you feel, take a breath. Instead, send something that makes him curious, something that makes him want to hear from you, something that makes him realize that even when you're not around, you're still in his head. And that's the moment he starts to miss you. You know what's fascinating? The way we always want what we feel is slipping away. It's human nature. The moment we sense we might lose something valuable, it becomes 10 times more desirable. And that's exactly why making someone miss you isn't about chasing them. It's about subtly reminding them of what they had, without ever explicitly saying it. Let me ask you something. Have you ever received a message from someone that instantly brought back a flood of emotion? A text so simple, yet so powerful that it made you pause for a second, maybe even smile, and think back to a moment that felt special? That's the kind of message you want to send if you want him to miss you. Not a desperate plea, not a long-winded explanation of your feelings, but something that triggers his memory in just the right way. Imagine this. You're walking down the street and suddenly you catch a familiar scent. The cologne of someone you once loved, the aroma of a coffee shop where you had deep conversations, or even the smell of the ocean from a trip you once took together. In that instant, your mind doesn't just recall the place or the person. It recalls the feeling, the laughter, the excitement, the connection. That's exactly what you want to tap into when you send a message that makes him miss you. So instead of sending a generic, "Hey, I miss you," which puts the ball in his court and makes it obvious that you're waiting for validation, you want to craft something that subtly reminds him of your presence in a way that he can't ignore. Maybe something like, "Just had the funniest conversation and it made me think, no one gets my humor like you do." It's simple, it's not needy, but it immediately makes him reflect on the unique connection you shared. Because here's the truth. People don't miss just anyone. They miss the moments, the little inside jokes, the unspoken understanding, the feeling of being seen and appreciated. And when you remind him of a moment like that, you make it impossible for him to dismiss the space you occupied in his life. Now, here's where most people get it wrong. They think the way to make someone miss them is to constantly remind them of their presence, to keep showing up, to keep texting, to keep asking how they're doing. But that's not how it works. See, when someone knows you're always there, always available, always just a message away, there's no urgency, no tension, no longing. It's like having your favorite dessert on the kitchen counter every single day. It's still good, but you stop craving it. But the moment it's no longer there, that's when you start thinking about it. That's when you realize how much you actually wanted it. That's the psychology at play when you send a message that makes him miss you. You're not throwing yourself at him. You're simply placing a thought in his mind, one that lingers, one that reminds him of a time when he felt special, when he felt connected to you in a way that wasn't forced, but natural. Think about it. Why do we reminisce about past relationships, even when we know they weren't perfect? It's because our minds filter out the noise and hold on to the moments that meant something. And if you can trigger that in a single message, you create a ripple effect in his mind. Suddenly, he's not just thinking about your text, he's thinking about you. He's remembering the way you laughed at his jokes, the way you made him feel understood, the way you had that little habit that used to drive him crazy, but now, somehow, feels endearing. And here's the best part. When he starts to miss you, when he starts to feel that pull, he's going to act on it. He's going to reach out. He's going to find an excuse to check in, to see if that connection is still there. And when he does, you have a choice. You can be the person who validates his curiosity, who jumps at the chance to prove you still care, or you can be the person who knows your worth, who understands that missing someone isn't just about longing, it's about recognizing value. And when someone recognizes your value, they don't just reach out to see if you're still there, they step up. They make an effort. They realize that what they had wasn't just a moment in time, but something that actually mattered. So the next time you feel tempted to send a text that says, "I miss you," pause, take a breath, and instead send something that leaves a mark, something that makes him stop what he's doing and think, "Wow, I really do miss her." You know what's fascinating about attraction? It's not just about looks or charm. It's about making someone feel like they're part of something special. The biggest mistake people make when they want someone to miss them is thinking they need to be more available, more present, more accommodating. But in reality, it's the opposite. People miss what they feel they no longer have access to. And the key to making someone feel that pull toward you? It's exclusivity. Think about the last time someone gave you an insight into their world that no one else had. Maybe they shared a dream they'd never told anyone before. Maybe they let you in on a little secret about themselves, something vulnerable, something real. That moment, even if it was just a small detail, made you feel connected. It made you feel like you had a special window into their life. And that's exactly what keeps people thinking about you long after the conversation is over. See, what most people do when they want someone to miss them is they either disappear completely, hoping absence alone will create longing, or they overcompensate by being overly available, constantly checking in, constantly trying to maintain attention. But true attraction and emotional connection aren't built through extremes. They're built through depth. When you send that message that says, "You'd be so proud of me, I just did something totally unexpected today," you're not just sending a text, you're planting a thought in their mind that lingers. You're inviting curiosity. You're creating a thread they want to pull on. What did you do? Why was it unexpected? What part of you changed or grew? And most importantly, why are they the one you wanted to share it with? This kind of message works because it's not needy, it's not desperate, and it's not generic. It's exclusive. It makes them feel like they still have a place in your world that no one else has. That's powerful. That's what makes someone stay up at night wondering about you, scrolling through their messages, debating whether to reach out. But let's take it a step further. What happens when they respond? If you immediately give them everything, if you rush to fill in the blanks and over-explain, you take away the magic. Instead, you tease it out. You allow the curiosity to build. You say something like, "I'll tell you, but only if you guess first." Or, "It was wild. I actually surprised myself. But enough about me. How's your week been?" See what happens there? You're making the interaction about more than just you. You're bringing them into the moment, making them part of the excitement. You're allowing them to chase a little. And that's where attraction thrives. Not in neediness, but in playfulness. Not in overexposure, but in giving just enough to leave them wanting more. Now, this only works if you actually have something interesting going on. But that's the part people forget. You can't just say, "I did something unexpected," if you're just sitting at home watching Netflix for the 5th night in a row. You have to actually live a life that's dynamic, exciting, and unpredictable. You have to be the kind of person who surprises yourself, because that's the only way you'll ever surprise anyone else. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean you need to jump out of an airplane or move to another country. It means you start making choices that align with growth. Maybe you signed up for a dance class when you've always been too shy. Maybe you struck up a conversation with a stranger and learned something incredible. Maybe you faced a fear you've been avoiding. When you have real stories to share, the way you communicate naturally becomes magnetic. What makes this so effective is that it subtly reinforces that you're evolving. You're not static. You're not waiting around for someone to validate you. You're out there creating experiences, building memories, expanding your world. And when someone sees that, they can't help but be intrigued. They can't help but feel like they're missing out on something exciting, because people don't miss stagnation. They miss movement. They miss the version of you that keeps growing, keeps challenging, keeps exploring. And here's the best part. This doesn't just make them miss you. It makes you more attractive overall, because confidence isn't just about looking good or saying the right things. Confidence is about knowing that your life is interesting enough that anyone who steps into it is lucky to be there. It's about knowing that the value you bring isn't dependent on someone else's attention, but on the energy you create just by being who you are. So the next time you're tempted to send a text that's designed just to get a response, stop. Instead, ask yourself, what's something I can share that's real? What's something that shows I'm moving forward? What's something that makes me excited, regardless of whether they respond or not? When you approach communication with that mindset, you shift the dynamic. You stop chasing. You start leading. And that's the moment they start missing you. There is something incredibly powerful about being someone who isn't always available. It's not about playing games or manipulating someone into missing you. It's about understanding human psychology. See, when something is always there, always accessible, we tend to take it for granted. Think about your favorite song. When you first hear it, you're obsessed. You play it on repeat. You can't get enough. But what happens after a while, it starts to lose that initial excitement, not because the song isn't great, but because it's everywhere and you've gotten used to it. Now, imagine if you could only hear that song once a week. Suddenly, every listen becomes special. You savor it. You appreciate it in a way you wouldn't if it were on loop every day. That's exactly how attraction works. When you create a sense of scarcity, not by pretending, but by genuinely living your life in a way that keeps you engaged, fulfilled, and not just sitting by your phone waiting for a text, you naturally make yourself more desirable. The difference between someone who is craved and someone who is forgotten is how they position themselves in another person's life. When you're always there, always responding, always the one reaching out, you don't allow the space for someone to feel your absence. Now, here's the magic of the right kind of text. Instead of sending something that says, "I miss you," or "Why haven't I heard from you?" which only signals neediness, you flip the script. You give them a small, enticing glimpse into your world without handing them everything. A simple, effortless message that says, "Just had an incredible weekend. Can't wait to tell you about it someday." This does two things. First, it tells them you're out there living your best life, not waiting around for their attention. Second, it creates curiosity. What did you do? Who were you with? Why someday and not now? It stirs that part of the mind that craves answers. And suddenly, they're thinking about you even more. Most people make the mistake of trying to force a connection by over-explaining their emotions. They text with the hope of reigniting something, pouring out how much they miss someone, assuming that the more they express, the more likely it is that the other person will feel the same way. But the truth? Over-explaining usually has the opposite effect. It removes any sense of mystery, and mystery is what keeps people coming back for more. You see, confidence is not just about what you say, it's about what you don't say. It's about knowing you're worth enough to trust that someone will realize what they have in you without you needing to spell it out. That's why the right kind of text isn't a plea for attention, it's an invitation to step into a moment of intrigue. It plants the seed in their mind that you're moving forward, thriving, experiencing things they're not a part of. And that's what triggers the sense of missing you. Now here's the trick. The key to making this work isn't just in sending the text, it's in actually living it. You can't just say you had an incredible weekend, you have to actually have an incredible weekend. If your life is exciting, if you're doing things that bring you joy, if you're creating experiences that are meaningful to you, then the energy in your words will reflect that. People can sense authenticity, and when you genuinely have a life that is full, fun, and rich, it naturally makes others want to be part of it. Think about the people you're drawn to. They're not the ones who are constantly seeking validation. They're the ones who are out there, having experiences, creating moments, moving forward. It's magnetic. And that's what you become when you focus less on getting someone to miss you and more on becoming the kind of person someone wouldn't want to lose in the first place. At the end of the day, the people who truly value you will make the effort to stay in your life, but you have to give them the space to do that. If you're always showing up, always making it easy, always the one putting in the effort, you don't allow them to feel what life is like without you. And that's essential. Sometimes the best thing you can do isn't to try harder, it's to step back. Let them wonder, let them feel the gap, let them experience what it's like when you're not so easily accessible. Because that's when they realize how much they actually want you there. So the next time you feel tempted to send that long, emotional text, stop, take a breath, and instead send something short, light, intriguing. Let it be a hint, not a novel. Let them come to you, because the truth is the people who are meant to be in your life will find their way there, not because you chased them, but because they wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Hope you're doing amazing. Just wanted to say hi. No expectations, just positive vibes your way. That's it. That's the text. And yet, if you send that at the right moment, with the right mindset, it can be the most powerful message you ever send. because it does something most people don't have the confidence to do. It shows that you are thinking about someone, but without needing them to validate your worth. It's an invitation, not a demand. It's a presence, not a plea. And that subtle difference is everything. Most people make the mistake of texting from a place of insecurity. They text because they're worried they've been forgotten. They text because they want to check if they still hold value in someone else's eyes. They text because they are waiting for permission to feel good about themselves again. And the person on the receiving end can always feel it. They might not be able to put it into words, but they sense the energy behind it. And nothing repels more than a message that carries the weight of desperation. Now let's flip the script. Imagine you receive a message from someone who isn't trying to get something from you. They aren't asking for your time, your reassurance, or your attention. They are simply sending warmth your way. How do you feel? It's refreshing, it's intriguing, it's rare, and it makes you wonder about them in a way that no needy message ever could. When you send a message like this, you become the person who doesn't need to force connection. You allow it to happen. That's an incredibly attractive quality, because people don't fall for those who chase them relentlessly. They fall for those who make them feel something without trying too hard. It's that lightness, that ease, that sense of self-assuredness that makes someone think, why does this person seem so at peace without me? And that's when they start missing you. The real magic in a message like this isn't just in the words, it's in the way you send it. You can't fake it. If you say no expectations, but deep down you're refreshing your phone every 5 seconds waiting for a reply, you've already lost. The power of this message comes from the fact that you genuinely mean it. You really are doing great. You really aren't expecting anything. You really are just sending good energy and then moving on with your day. And that authenticity is what makes it so effective. If you want someone to miss you, the answer isn't in chasing them. It's in creating space for them to come to you. And that space can only exist if you are genuinely happy and fulfilled in your own world. The moment your happiness depends on their response, they stop being drawn to you. But the moment they feel like they are simply being invited into your already amazing life, they lean in. They start thinking about you. They start wondering what's going on in your world. And they start realizing that maybe, just maybe, they miss having access to that energy. People don't miss presence, they miss energy. You don't miss someone just because they're gone. You miss the way they made you feel when they were around. So if you want someone to miss you, don't focus on absence. Focus on the kind of energy you bring to the table. And the most magnetic energy in the world is confidence mixed with warmth. The kind of confidence that says, I don't need you, but I do appreciate you. The kind of warmth that says, I'm here, but only if you want me to be. This is why the most effective way to get someone to think about you isn't through a perfectly crafted message, a clever line, or a strategic play. It's through your overall presence in their life. When they think of you, what do they feel? Do they feel tension, pressure, or obligation? Or do they feel lightness, fun, and the desire to be around you because it feels effortless? Your text is just an extension of that feeling. A great text doesn't create attraction, it reflects it. So before you even think about sending this text, ask yourself, am I in the right place to send it? Am I truly happy with my life, independent of their response? Am I sending this because I genuinely want to spread positive energy? Or am I secretly hoping to get something back? Because if there's even a hint of expectation, don't send it. Instead, go build the kind of life that makes you so fulfilled that when you do send this message, it comes from a place of abundance, not scarcity. The irony is, the moment you stop needing someone to miss you is usually the moment they start missing you the most. Because now they aren't being pulled by neediness, they're being drawn in by curiosity. What's changed? Why do they seem different? What's making them so happy without me? And just like that, the dynamic shifts. The more you lean back into your own life, the more they start leaning in. This isn't about playing games. It's not about reverse psychology. It's about genuinely understanding human nature. We are drawn to what feels good, and we move away from what feels heavy. If your presence, even in text form, feels like a breath of fresh air, You don't have to force anyone to miss you. They just will. So next time you think about sending a message that begs for attention, pause. Instead, send one that radiates confidence, warmth, and the simple joy of connection without expectation. And then let go. Because the most powerful thing you can ever do in someone's life is show them what it feels like to experience you without ever having to hold on too tightly. That's how you make someone miss you.